I don't know about this question. I'm just curious, talking about budget amendments, I think looking at them twice a year could be advantageous if we can get to that point, certainly. Does it make any sense? And I know that they're pretty unpredictable because things happen. You don't know what it's going to be and how much it's going to cost. Does it make any sense to have a dedicated line for budget amendments on an annual basis? And if it doesn't, whatever that number may be, if it's not spent, then you would roll it over to the next fiscal year and just fund that line less than you did in the previous fiscal year? Or is it way too unpredictable and that just overcomplicates things?
Your budget.
Yeah, my budget, yeah, my budget. Matt? No, just kidding. No, I think that's something that could be looked at. But if you're going to do something where you're going to get into the process amending it twice a year, I mean, you just look at the financials through the end of the year and adjust the line items that need adjusting. And if all of a sudden now we're strong on revenue in this part, we can increase revenues a little bit, but we had some things break, or, we had a landslide we had to fix, we didn't have any choice. And now we have to look at, okay, well, we're not going to do this project, we're going to do this, just to kind of keep on track through the year. I think it's just a good exercise, just to go through that for the first 6 months and then just see where you're at and give you a little better perspective when you're going into the next fiscal year, especially as you're trying to tighten things up right now and get a little bit more control over the financials to give you a better idea of where things are.
I'd like to read this one statement out of this, and then I have a comment. And this says the effect, and correct me if I'm wrong, but you say, this statement says, the city's internal financial statements have been materially misstated. Mm-hmm. The city has been relying on its auditor to correct and adjust a significant and material portion of its audited financial statements. The reliance does not demonstrate appropriate internal control over financial reporting and is a violation of the auditor's requirement to be independent. So I have said for years that, I was always worried that the next executive branch administration is going to have to clean up the mess from the first one, from the financial numbers. Been saying it for a very long time. I think that the executive branch has probably been more concerned on protecting its friends and its staff than it is on the city, and our main focus should be protect the city at all costs. You know what I mean? And I think that this is significant. And I'm glad we're starting off. I think, Matt, I think you have your hands full. When I email you, Matt, and I email another head of department, you always respond, and not the head of the department. That's too many hats to wear. Do you know what I mean? So, I think that when I email you, I'm just copying you to make sure, and you're always trying to follow up. But if the head of department can't get back to me, what's the point when I'm asking questions for P&Ls or Excels? You know what I mean? So, and I'm only saying this because I know that you want to get everything right. You don't want to make any mistakes. You want to cross the T's and dot the I's. But when we look at the next financial director here, we need to make sure that person is capable and willing to go in and show all these people how to break things down and account for their cost. You know what I mean? So this is unfortunate, and it's also fortunate that we have found it now. You know what I mean? So, and I'm glad to have you on, Linda. Thank you, and thank you for doing this. I appreciate it.
I think you answered your question about the accounting firm versus an interior person when you mentioned the individual events that you plan on doing and bringing overtime into it, and that's something
I just think we're too
going to have an
city.
outside accounting firm do that.
I understand that if we have a great internal person, maybe two, but then we're not offsetting the cost by having someone take up all that slack that can teach that. You know what I mean? I believe in an internal person, but I also, giving this, it's hard not to reach to have someone that's outside, that's independent, review everything. I just don't think, so.
Okay. No other questions, no further questions. And John, I'm sure, thanks again for your work, and Linda, and we'll be working together quite a bit more in the next couple of months, it sounds like. So thank you. Do we have a motion to adjourn the Finance Committee meeting? Adjourn. Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor? Aye. Adjourn.